Yo yo yo, Soup Squad! It's Nimbo Soup yet again. I wanted to make a video going over my thoughts on ground RB and maybe why I suffer a little bit or enjoy air more, so here we are. Don't get me wrong, I have just as much fun as the next guy does in ground RB every now and then, but I can't seem to sit there and grind it or play it for 24 hours straight without getting too upset the way I can with air RB. So the purpose of this is to understand why that is and maybe help fix it. I would love to get into more ground RB battles. This video is as much for myself as it is for you guys. My goal is to get pretty analytical and try to shift some perspectives, including my own, by understanding things better. And one more thing before we start, all of the things I talk about are my opinions. This is how I feel, not what I know for a fact. Based off of this, I prefer air in general over ground. If you don't, and you feel differently, that's totally cool with me. To each their own. Alright, here we go. There's a few talking points about the gameplay itself I want to go over regarding ground RB in relation to air RB, and why I personally might enjoy air more. First of all, the quickness in general. Some of you are going to laugh because, yeah, you have to spend time setting up in planes just like you do in ground. But, for whatever reason, the beginning of matches seems more bearable to me in air than it does in ground. It probably has to do with the vehicles, on the most basic level, just moving faster. Maybe I just have a stupidly short attention span. Second, situational awareness. Again, yes, situational awareness is very important in planes, especially at top tier, but nowhere near as important as it is in ground. If you're in ground, not constantly holding your C key, looking for enemies before they see you, you will die. You must be 100% alert 100% of the time, and for me, it just seems like a lot of effort compared to air. Third, patience. This is another thing, like situational awareness, that is necessary of course in planes, just not as necessary. If you aren't patient in ground, you will die to someone you don't see. In planes, worst case scenario is you get slap happy and overshoot your enemy, but at least you still have a chance to escape them. All of these things just meddle together to discourage me from enjoying ground as much as I do air. Again here, it definitely has a lot to do with my personality or my character traits or whatever. Yours might be different. Maybe some of you are more patient and attentive than I am. Of course, both air and ground vehicles require knowledge to succeed in. I'm of the opinion, however, that in air, you will always have an option according to your plane's strengths, no matter what situation you're in. Some planes are fast, some climb well, some turn well. Play accordingly, and theoretically, if you play it absolutely perfectly, you will be able to come out on top. Yes, even if you're at an energy disadvantage. In ground, though, sometimes there is just nothing you can do. You will face tanks that are seemingly impenetrable in any situation, even if you're playing to your tank's strongest attribute. On this note, I'll talk about knowing strengths and weaknesses. Once again, of course it's important to know these in air, but much more so in ground. In air, you can get away with knowing and playing to just your plane's strengths. In ground, not only must you be aware of your own vehicle's strengths and weaknesses, but also of every vehicle you'll face. Armor values, reload times, reverse speeds, accelerations, penetrations, the list goes on for every single vehicle you'll see. For my Nimbo brain, it just seems like too much over air. On top of that, we have map knowledge. Between this and situational awareness, arguably the single most important thing you can have to succeed in ground RB. In fact, if you aren't familiar with the map you're playing in ground, you will almost definitely not do well. In air, the map makes pretty much literally zero difference to me, unless it's like, mid-map AAA or something. M163 killing me in my BF-109 F4 at 4.0. Anyways, my point here is that the map design itself doesn't really affect your gameplay almost at all in air, but it entirely does in ground. And map knowledge is really only something that can be gained through much experience that you will probably be suffering through at first. Unless you want to sit there analyzing charts of each map in War Thunder to determine timings and sightlines to watch and a bunch of other bullshit, I don't, so I'll just complain about it and go play air instead. Before you even think about writing that comment, no, I'm not complaining about CAS. In fact, I'm a CAS supporter. Probably has to do with the air main part. Just start playing SPAAs, people. It really isn't that hard. They're actually good if you know how to use them. Anyways, people tend to die early into the match in ground having gotten no kills and leave the game, leaving your team at a massive disadvantage. Yeah, people just run in like a chicken with their head cut off and, perish in air battles all the time. At least you can use them as bait, or the enemy loses energy trying to kill them. In ground, if you get teammates doing that and dying, they've contributed literally nothing to the team. Maybe you're lucky enough to have gotten a spot out of them on an enemy that's probably concealed or close to their spawn that you can't hit anyways. Sucks either way. Also, a large part of this is people having only one vehicle at the BR they want to play. Legal reasons, I'm not going to get into that, but I think you can figure that one out. And I don't want anyone to get me wrong here. The issue of people running in, dying immediately, and leaving the match isn't a fault of the game mode or anything, it's just people being NPCs. As such, I don't really think there's too much we can do about it. You can't fix stupid. You can, however, if you're like me, play air and have more fun. I am obviously not very knowledgeable on ground overall, so I don't want to get too far into this one, but from my experience, it's definitely worth mentioning. An up tier in ground battles tends to suck much more than an up tier in planes. Again, not too sure the reason, and this is a very general statement. It could be BR compression or whatever it might be. I know nothing about this balancing and matchmaking stuff yet again. As a casual player, though, some games I do pretty well, and some games I absolutely suck. In almost all of the games I absolutely suck in, it's at least somewhat of an up tier. Yes, I certainly have skill issues, but, and I genuinely want to know this, at what point do the numbers not lie? I've actually considered doing a study on this or something and making a video out of it, like play a bunch of matches, take the average tier, amount of kills, stuff like that. Let me know if you guys want to see a video like that. At the end of the day, whatever the facts might be, I tend to pray for down tiers much more in ground than I do in air, if that helps sum it up for you. I think there's definitely some things I need to get past in my own brain before I can enjoy ground as much as I enjoy air. There's certainly aspects to it that make it inherently different, but at the end of the day, I suppose you can't judge ground by air standards and vice versa. I think air just fits my current mindset a little bit better. That being said, I do enjoy ground from time to time, and if you guys would like to see more ground content, please do let me know in the comments. That's about all I've got for my thoughts on ground, though, so if you liked the video, or now you look at things a little bit differently, hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. Check out the description for a bunch of important links. I'll let you figure those out. Anyways, you all know the deal. This is Nimbo Soup. Nimbo signing out.